Hello and welcome to this week's YouTube video. Every 4 weeks I do a Procreate video where I try and transfer my fine art painting skills to Procreate. This week I thought I'd show you how to create volume in your work. I am going to use a demo painting of a sphere to help show you how to do this. Before we start, I am briefly going to explain how light works. Light is what lets us see colour and shapes, and it's very important in painting. When light hits an object, some of it is absorbed and some of it bounces or reflects off a surface. Reflected light also creates extra effects. If light shines on a white wall next to a red ball, some of the red light bounces onto the wall, giving it a faint red glow. Let's see how this works in practice with a cone example. Look at what happens when I move the light around at the front of the cone. I get a highlight where the light is directly hitting the object. It then bends around it, hitting the wall, and then reflects onto this side. I also get a shadow that moves around on the floor depending upon the direction of the light. Remember that all objects are made up of very simple shapes. These shapes are a cone, pyramid, sphere, cube, and rectangle. You will find most things you try and paint can be simplified in these shapes. For example, a dog's head is a combination of a sphere and a cone. If you understand what light does when it hits these objects, you'll have a better chance of painting them correctly. If you are unsure, try this exercise yourself with all the objects I have mentioned, and then try and simplify what you are trying to paint with these 5 objects. Let's have a look then at painting this sphere. Notice the light is coming from the right diagonally. As it hits the object, we get our cast shadow on this side, but also some reflected light is bouncing back and hitting our object here. This part here of the sphere is furthest from our light source because it is not receiving any direct light, nor is it receiving any reflected light. This is why you see the darkest shadow area on our object around the centre. Once you've figured out what the light is doing on your object, you need to figure out your temperatures. It is these temperature shifts plus correct values that will make your object look real and convincing. You will need a combination of warm and cool temperatures. I am going to use my cool greys from my red colour picker. I will select them from all down this side. Where I want my neutrals to become warmer, I will select them from my orange colour picker. The further over to the right I go, the warmer my neutrals will be. Let's have a go at painting this. If it helps, use my version and a guide to copy where your lights and darks should go, and also use your warm and cool temperatures. I am using the wet acrylic for this exercise. Try and do this exercise all by eye. I am working on 1 layer for this exercise. Mark out your widest edges of your sphere and join them up with a circular shape. If you place 2 fingers on the screen, it will give you a nice round circle. Mark in your cast shadow. It only needs to be approximate. This is more an exercise on value and temperature than one on drawing. I then cover my background with a mid-grey from the red colour panel. Remember, we are working down this side only for the red colour picker. I then block in my obvious values from my red colour picker, my darkest cast shadow, my lighter side, notice this isn't white, plus where the light hits the floor at the base of the sphere. Now I'm going to add a bit of warmer temperature using my orange colour picker. I am adding this straight over the top of my cooler values. Remember, we are working on 1 layer. Use my finished sketch to help you figure out the oranges you need. If you look at my finished sketch, you'll notice that where I have a warm temperature, I place a cool temperature next to it. So cool, warm background, warm cast shadow, that then transitions to cool. This dark area of the sphere is warm. That then transitions to a cool background. My warm cast shadow is placed next to a cool floor. Getting this middle area here correct is very tricky. It needs to be the correct value and temperature. I'm using my wet acrylic brush at about 85 to 95% opacity. Even though I'm not using a soft blend brush, it doesn't matter. Get the values right and it will begin to look a bit like a snooker ball. I'm working from a warmer darker value to a cooler mid value to my lighter cool value. I'm making a lot of adjustments to my value to try and get that blend. As I move down my sphere, my value gets lighter because I am taking into account the reflected light. At about this point, I switch to my smudge brush. Select the round brush and try and smudge in that transition. Don't do this too early though. You'll need your values and temperatures established before you do this. I've also used it to pull out that cast shadow on the furthest edge. This is how a shadow will behave when the light comes across at a diagonal. You'll notice an overhead light will produce a much harder edged cast shadow. The further into this painting you get, the easier it will be to judge where you're out. To recap then, simplify your shapes when painting any object. Understand where your light source is coming from. Make sure your values are correct. Use warm and cool temperatures. Place warm temperatures next to cool ones. Do this exercise for other shapes to help you learn about light. I hope you've enjoyed today's video and found it useful. Please like and subscribe if you can, and check out my website sarahhallidayart.com, where you will find examples of my work and also details of online classes that I run. Thank you for watching, and see you for the next one.